Well, what's definitely attractive about Korea is the office market is swimming against the tides globally. What we're seeing in the U.S. and Europe and the whole world really is a real correction in the office market. Many factors, but mainly the work from home phenomenon you're seeing in the West, we're not really seeing in Korea. And so, very interestingly enough, the Korean office market has been one of the strongest in the world. And so it accounted for, I think, 11% of the global transactions of office this last quarter. And in Seoul, we're seeing rent growth of high single digits over the last quarter. So we're seeing strong rent growth, strong underlying fundamentals, relatively good supply-demand adjusted metrics, and low vacancy, as you said. I think Seoul CBD is actually sub 2%. It might even be 1%.
What about the R word, the most dreaded R word? If a recession hits, because South Korea is such a cyclical economy, that could change things. What's the discussion internally at Hines?
Yeah, we've been around since 1957. So with that time and the scale that we have of being all over the world in 30 countries, we get to see a lot. And so we know markets ebb and flow. But being a private company, we could take a very long-term view. I think it's specific to Korea, we have boots on the ground. We have local folks in the market living and breathing that market every day, and we're looking for opportunities. So we're often buyers and we're often sellers. And so to be a smart investor, you have to buy into the market when there are opportunities and sometimes sell when the opportunity is right as well.
Okay, so sort of ride the wave here. Your projected AUM for Korea by 2030 stands at 5 trillion Korean won, I believe. You're working with half of that at the moment. Where would you put the rest of it to put to work, basically? Is it going to be meeting the tech demand, AI data centers, or is it hospitality due to, I don't know, post-COVID demand?
Yeah, fundamentally, we match opportunity with capital. And Korea is at the epicenter of those two words at the moment. Right now, we have in U.S. dollars, about 1.7 billion invested in Korea. That's both in Seoul and Busan. That's 3 logistics developments, 1 CBD office in Seoul called Westgate Tower, and then we've talked about in the past the Busan Quantum Complex, which accounts for about $1 billion of that 1.75 billion invested. What I think you'll see going forward is we'll continue to invest in those product types, logistics, office, mixed use, up and down the risk spectrum, mainly in Seoul, but also in Busan as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's really the attraction coming out of what's happening in China, perhaps? Capital exiting China and South Korea benefiting from some of that? Is that the story happening in the region?
Well, I think anything that happens in China greatly affects Asia Pacific and it affects the entire world. We are seeing adjustments in various markets and capital does ebb and flow. And Korea does feel like they're the beneficiary for some of the underlying fundamentals that we talked about. Just seeing that type of low vacancy, the strong rent growth, and the risk-adjusted supply as compared to demand makes it a real outlier market, particularly in the office sector.